Okay, so I'm going over CodingBat WarmUp1 missingChar. The directions say, given a non-empty string and an int n, return a new string where the character at index n has been removed. And then it says the value of n will be a valid index of the original string, and n will be somewhere in the range of 0 to length minus 1. So just as a reminder how strings work, like kitten has 6 characters, and the k is at spot 0, then spot 1, spot 2, spot 3, spot 4, spot 5. So the n is spot 5, which is 1 less than the length of 6. And so it's always true. First character is always at spot 0, the last character is always at spot length minus 1. Now, one thing you need to get used to is just how to get started, how to read the instructions and the examples. So here it shows 3 examples of our method being called and the results it should produce. And let me remind you that with CodingBat, you're always making return methods, and so you'll never put a print statement inside of here. You're always returning a value. And so the only way you'd actually see these strings outputted to the screen is if you like call this and stored it into a string variable and then printed it, or you could just put this method call inside of a print statement. Kind of like if you did, called substring or something like that inside of a print statement, then it would produce the answer and then print it. But these don't actually print anything; they just return the answer. So now, the other thing I want to remind you is string objects are immutable, as in we can't actually remove the I from kitten on this one or remove the K. You can't do that. But what we can do is capture everything before the I, capture everything after the I, and concatenate those 2 strings together and make that the answer. So that's what we're going to do. If you look at this, we want to capture up to spot n, so we do substring 0 to n, which once again, this version of substring goes from the starting point up to but not including the ending point, which is perfect. So like in our first example, it would get just the k. And n is 1 in this example, don't forget. And then we want to capture everything after spot 1, so we just use n plus 1 and go to the end. And once again, it's going to, like in our example, n is 1, so this works out to 2. So it calculates the 2 and then does substring 2, which once again goes from that spot all the way to the end, which is perfect. That's what we wanted. We wanted everything after the I. Now let me show you something. First of all, this does work. It gets all the green check marks. People might forget the plus 1 or not think about that. Look what happens. You actually just get the whole string back. So you get everything before spot 1, and then you get everything from spot 1 to the end. So this code really is always worthless because it just is the original string. But the other thing I wanted you to see was how to interpret the results. So because this is going to give you clues as to how to fix your code if it's not working. And so here, I mean, clearly, well, look, you need to compare each one of these and look for a pattern. And of course, in this case, it failed entirely. It didn't remove the letter. I'd say it failed entirely. It actually did capture everything before and everything after. So you just have to figure out, okay, how do I adjust these so that so that it works. And of course, that was a fix because you want to capture after the current letter. Now, another way to write the code is that do the same thing and just store each part first. And so I made a local variable called front to store the front part, and one called back to store the everything after the character we're trying to remove. And then I just return those 2 strings concatenated. Notice right here, it's not exactly the same as what I had up here. And there's no reason to do this because it's shorter to just write n plus 1. But I just want you to appreciate that really, when you write this code, this version of substring just calls the two input version substring, but automatically goes to length. So for instance, like in our example, n is 1, so we're doing substring 2. This would be doing substring 2, 6, since the length of kitten is 6. but it would capture everything from spot 2 up to but not including spot 6, which is spots 2 through 5, which is from T to N, like we want. So once again, this is actually the same as what I had up here.